you like this episode, please subscribe, share with others, rate and review so we can continue to bring you great programming.
This is The Thing About Cars, a podcast for car enthusiasts and the people who love them.
Hello and welcome to The Thing About Cars. I'm one of your hosts, Mickey Desai. Around the table we have a full house today. Ben, how are you?
Hey, all right. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. And back from the mines for a little while. Dawn, how are you doing?
I'm awesome.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see you again. Misty, how's it going?
I'm just 100% better. I'm 1,000,000% better because I got to hear Dawn's dulcet tones and see her beautiful face.
And last but never least, how are you, Dave?
For reasons we don't need to go to, I'm high on etiquette at the moment.
High on etiquette. We all know why. No, we don't. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm very happy to see you guys. Our guest for today was supposed to be a gentleman named Richard Prince. Richard, if you're out there, we miss you. Where are you? We will look forward to rescheduling with Richard, but we'll keep the lines open for him when he makes it, if he should make it. Richard did a very cool book about Corvettes that we'll tell you all about at some point when he's here. In the meantime, I have a Corvette trivia in Richard's absence. I'm just going to ask a few of them because I don't want to blow the entire thing on us because he needs to answer some of these questions. I believe he's a fantastic photographer anyway. You guys should see this book. And when was the first Corvette prototyped and introduced?
I knew that answer. Shoot. Are we holding this trivia or are we going to just shoot?
I'm going to ask and try to answer this one. Then we'll ask. Well, let's answer this one now because I'm not sure I got the answer right. I'm not sure this thing is correct. So let's answer this one now, and then I'll ask one that will at the end of the episode.
So the first prototype or first production?
Ben, I'm just going to read this thing, and you guys we could just make the most of it. So this thing says in 1951, a group of Harley Earl's Special Projects crew began work on a GM sports car. Bob McLean designed a general layout for the car. The project was codenamed Opal. The project was codenamed Opal. So the first bits of the birth of the Corvette came out in 1951, and it was codenamed Project Opal for GM.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Are you talking about quarter panels and?
Are we talking Opel with an A or an E?
E.
Like the German car
Opel,
brand. Yeah. Like the only car that my grandfather ever drove.
The Opel Astra.
The Opel Astra.
Yeah, the Opel
So your
Astra.
grandfather only ever drove Opels?
Yeah, it was so bizarre because he was an amazing Chevy, GM, Dodge, Pontiac mechanic, and he lived in the hinterlands of Northeast Georgia. But he only ever drove Opels. It was very bizarre.
Here's something that catches me by surprise. This doesn't have much to do with Corvettes as much as it has to do with Chevy's bow tie in general. Does anyone know where that might have come from, where the Chevy bow tie appeared? It says William Durant, the founder of GM, said a wallpaper pattern he saw in a Paris hotel in 1908 inspired the bow tie logo. Allegedly, he ripped off a small piece of it and brought it back to Detroit. And that's where the GM logo was born. Allegedly.
Ugly American vandal.
That makes sense. Americans in Paris doing. Hello, Tilly. How are you doing?
Right.
Interesting, though, Louis Chevrolet himself, for whom the company was named, didn't have a whole lot to do with it. GM kind of recruited him. He was a race car driver in those days.
Who was that?
Yeah. Louis Chevrolet, the guy for whom Chevrolet is named. Yeah, he was a race car driver, kind of Swiss American. Yeah, he'd had some successes. GM kind of recruited him to sort of head this division, but he wasn't in it for very long and didn't have that much to do with it, really.
Right.
Early GM history is kind of fascinating. There's a lot of weird little things like that.
That's actually cool.
Yeah.
All right. So my trivia question for today is a true or false question, which is kind of lame. I'm apologizing in advance, but here's the statement. Corvette was not the first to be made with a fiberglass body. So we all know Corvettes have fiberglass bodies. But was it the first car to be made with the fiberglass body? So true or false? True or false? It was not the first.
True is not, or true is?
True is true.
A train leaves Chicago at 60 miles an hour. How much do you pay the conductor?
Purple.
But if a Corvette leaves St. Louis 30 minutes later, at what point will they meet in anyway?
My brain hurts. Okay, my second trivia question for you, which we will also answer at the end of the show, is Corvettes have been assembled in 3 different cities. Bowling Green. Which of these is the third city? So that Bowling Green and St. Louis are the first 2 cities that Corvettes have been assembled in. What is the third city that has been home to a Corvette assembly facility? We will answer that question at the end of the show. So, has anybody here ever owned a Corvette?
No,
My dad.
No, but I dated a guy who did.
Dawn.
my grandpa had a couple of them.
My brother-in-law had one.
I'm trying to get my mom to text me right now and tell me what year it was, but it was either a 62, 63, or 64.
Wow.
And it was, they always tell me it was Honduras red with the top that was, you pull off and you put in the garage so that you can drive around.
Mhm.
And they had it when I was a itty bitty baby, and they would have to put me in the jump area, that little area, and drive me around the block to put me to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's where I got my love of cars, is the Corvette. And my dad to this day regrets it. Now, it wasn't a Stingray. It wasn't a 64, I'm pretty sure, because that vehicle, my dad would be really upset if he had not kept that car. It was like a year before that. And yeah, that was basically my thing that put me to sleep. I would scream bloody murder, and they would take me and stick me in the Corvette and drive around Chevy Chase outside of DC where my dad was stationed, and then I'd fall asleep, and then they could finally put me to sleep and get some sleep themselves. So yeah, my dad loved that car, and he wishes he had kept it for me.
My grandfather bought it.
No, go ahead, Ben.
My grandfather bought a brand new Vet in '66. It was a silver one, and my half uncle still has it. And my grandpa raced it a little bit. He did, just bolt-on mods for amateur racing, wheels and safety stuff and things like that. It's been all put back to stock now, but he raced it with the Mid-Ohio Corvette Club back in the '70s. He lived in Ohio, obviously. Had a lot of fun with it. Last time I saw the car was 2005, and my half uncle said he doesn't even want to know what it's worth. He has an idea somewhere in the high 5 figures, and probably more than that now, but it's all original. It's in good shape. He says he takes it to the occasional Sunday cruise in, and someday he'll give it to his son.
Yep.
Nice.
Nice gift.
Nice.
I've only ever driven one Corvette. I believe it was a C5 Corvette. Let me make sure I'm telling you the truth here. But it was when I was working at a dealership back in the late 80s, early 90s. And this Corvette came into a Chrysler dealership of all things. What it was doing there, I have no idea. So no, it was a C4 Corvette, not a C5. And I hopped behind the wheel of this thing, took it to the nearby Chevy dealership to get it fixed, because what the heck is a Dodge Chrysler dealership going to do with a Corvette? And that Corvette, even though it was sick and limping along, still had savage power. It was crazy how easy it was to just chirp that thing just leaving the parking lot of the Chrysler dealership. It was nuts, and I've kind of one ever since.
Oh yeah.
What year was it?
This must have been late 80s, so this must have been around 89, 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they look more like muscle cars.
Yeah.
In my opinion. My favorite is the 60s. I think the 60s Corvettes are super beautiful.
Yep. Well, we'll have
are.
to get Mr. Prince to join us. We'll have to reschedule him because clearly he has forgotten, and that's okay, because he's probably out doing something cool in the world of automotive photography. He's
He's probably cruising around on a Corvette, and who can blame him?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not trying to diss on us or anything, because we're probably the most amazing group of people ever around a mic, but us Corvette That would be a hard one. Even I would struggle with that, and I'm not. I love the Corvette. I think it's beautiful. Um, but it's not like one that, if you were to offer me like the new updated version of Claudette versus a brand new Corvette, I'd probably still go with Claudette.
Really?
Yeah. I just really, really like the Mazda. I like the reliability. I like the fact that I get better gas mileage than your Honda Civic.
Well, Misty, why don't you go get the thing? I mean, you're sitting here. This is the second week in a row now that we've talked about your
No,
longing for this car.
this is still it's still gonna weigh on my mind, and I just have to get over it. I mean, I'm not. It's not that I don't love, but it's like I told you, in order to trade in Claudette, I have to have, my husband has to sign off on it, because it's in our names,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of okay, fine, but I just need to sit a while with my hurt and get over it. You know,
I,
this is not something that you just kind of go, yeah, okay, now I'm over it.
I do understand that, Misty. I'm just
I mean,
trying to alleviate your pain.
it's a car,
Welcome
I
to
mean,
another segment of Thing About Cars, the therapy moment.
It's not just a car. None of us have just a car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's it. For us, it's not just a car.
Yeah.
For us, it's a way of life. For us, it's who we are. I mean, I'm pretty sure, if you were, to, cut me or Dawn especially, that it's transmission fluid in our veins, which
I
is
don't
the
know about
closest I
that.
can.
I won't go that far, but yeah, don't take my CLK 320 2004 away.
Yeah.
The claws come out,
Yeah,
Hey,
or,
I hate to tell you, if you cut me, it's probably Sauvignon Blanc.
yeah, okay, now that. Speaking of, Dave, when are you going to come visit me so I can take you to Luxembourg to that lovely winery that has probably the best Pinot Blanc that you will ever wrap your mouth around?
No kidding,
Soon,
really.
soon. I'm gonna be in London in May, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get over to the continent.
That's okay, because I think the 2nd of June I'm going to be in Italy for 3 weeks.
I'm still hoping to get up that way in April. I haven't made any plans yet, but
You need to be here. You need to be here for Easter Sunday. I'm sorry. Actually, all of y'all need to be here for Easter Sunday.
yeah.
Are you
What happens on
driving to
Easter
Italy?
Sunday?
It's my birthday.
Oh, it's the day Misty rose from the uterus.
Yes, it's my uterine eviction day, and it's now been half a century. And I just told my age in front of God and everybody.
Oh,
Dave,
wow.
I need to go lay down.
Dave looks a little perplexed, concerned, and questioning his life decisions, I think.
Yeah, never mind. About to go someplace, I walked right up to the door, and I'm like, nope, we're not going to it.
All right.
Kind of peek around the door frame.
Run away.
All right, so let's answer some trivia questions. In fact, I have one more. Allegedly, what car is home to the most Corvettes per capita? What city is home to the most?
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
What city is?
Let me do my research, make sure that this particular site's not lying to me real quick. Most Corvettes per capita.
For those of you just joining the show, the other remaining contestants are forbidden from Googling.
Yeah.
So is it New York City? Is it Los Angeles, California? Is it Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or is it Miami, Florida?
You got two of my initial guesses were either going to be Los Angeles or Miami.
Mine was Miami.
I'll go for Los Angeles. We'll split the difference.
Dawn, what do you think?
I'm going to do something totally different only because I've seen so many. I'm going to say New York.
New York. Okay. And Ben, what do you think?
Oh, Los Angeles. I'm not even sure why.
I'm thinking here it is actually Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
The hell?
Per capita is the key.
Right.
Per capita.
Oh, yeah. You only need like 2 Corvettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only need like 2, and you've got it. Speaking of,
that's why I was thinking New York. It's like some people are very, very wealthy and have multiple garages, and they garage multiple.
Right.
Speaking of Florida, because Miami was there, we have a new American driver in Formula One who's from Fort Lauderdale. This is rookie season.
Who's this now? What?
Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent just started in Formula One. Came up from F2. He was so he's like oh man, his parents loved him because he was born on December 31st. Tax break for the whole year. He's like 22 from Fort Lauderdale. He did some pretty impressive times for testing. He's driving for Williams. So yeah, an American back in Formula One.
We'll have to keep our eyes peeled. I think I finally got some Formula One action on my television box here. I haven't paid for those streaming services in the past, but now I think we get a bunch of them by default. So racing is on.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
So was the Corvette the first car to be made with a fiberglass body? True or false?
Are we saying just car, or could it be another vehicle?
I'm going to say car.
Okay.
So true or false? The Corvette was the first car to be made with a fiberglass body. Ben?
I would say false.
Dawn?
I'm going to say true.
Misty?
I'm going false.
Dave?
I'm going false. Only because I never go against Ben on these things.
It is correct. False is the correct answer. The world's first mass-produced fiberglass-bodied sports car was something called the Kaiser Darrin, Darrin.
Yeah. Well, mass production is a bit of a stretch of the imagination. They didn't make a whole lot of those.
Sure, and it's this cool little car. If you can't see it, I'll post a link in chat here. But and to our list, yeah.
The Kaiser Darrin is notable for having pocket doors.
Yes, I was going to say those are pocket doors. This is a very cool looking layout here for this car. If you can't see it, check it out. Kaiser, Kaiser Darrin. That's how you spell it. It's a very cool looking little machine. I can't imagine there are many of these left in the world.
I've seen, I think, 2 in museums, and one was in the Savoy Museum, not far from us, just a few weeks ago. I don't know if it's in their permanent collection or not, but yeah, it was a beautiful thing to behold. And I think both of the ones I've seen in museums were kind of like a cream white color. They made a few colors, but that seems to be the one that survives the most.
Yeah, that's the one that's in this picture.
That's adorable. It's a James Bond car. This is what M would pull up to the crime scene in.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
What's the name of it again?
Kaiser Darrin, Darrin.
As in or Durwood if you're a Bewitched fan.
So,
okay. Gotcha. I can see it now. I was spelling it wrong.
That is so cute.
So
Corvettes. Is super cute.
Corvettes have been assembled in 3 different cities: St. Louis, Bowling Green. What's the third, Dave?
Whenever we talk about General Motors, Flint, Michigan. It's like I default to Flint, Michigan for every automotive assembly thing.
Flint. Misty, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with Dave on this because I don't think it was in Detroit, but Flint, close enough.
Dawn, what do you think?
Oh boy, I don't know why.
And you got all the cities in the world to choose from here. Right?
I know. I want to say another place in Ohio, but what's another place in Ohio? Up there on the coast.
Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to say Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ben?
Well, even before Dave said it, Flint was scratching at my memory for some reason, and I know I've heard it before, but I want to say Flint. And by the way, the way the question is phrased as the third city, this would have actually been the first place it was made.
That is correct. That is actually correct, and it is Flint. So everybody who said Flint got it correct, and it was first assembled in Flint before it made its way to St. Louis and Bowling Green. And good job, you guys. Good stuff. We should go to Bowling Green and say hi and make some things happen there.
2 good things to do in Bowling Green, and they're right across the interstate from each other.
Does one of them involve whiskey?
Not per se, although I suppose if you were clever enough or sneaky enough, you could make that happen. No, one is they're right across the interstate from each other. One is the Corvette assembly facility, which they do. Last I heard, they do tours by appointment. But then the other is the National Corvette Museum. And I've been to that, and it's definitely worth seeing.
That the one that got swallowed by a sinkhole?
Well, partially, yeah. And that has been incorporated into the exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
The cars that were swallowed are on display in their mangled condition, and they've got a whole little hall off the side of one of the big buildings that is all about the collapse.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. You'll learn a little bit about karst topography and that sort of thing. But yeah, very cool museum. Definitely worth seeing. And this is only like an hour and change north of Nashville, so not far from here, really.
One of these days we will have to get our calendars aligned and do a road trip.
We must
do that.
Yes. And I just found a little cute website called Corvettestory.com.
Corvettestory.com.
Yes. And my mom and dad just texted me and said they had a 1962. And
62
pull
Corvette, yes.
out the Corvette story and you put in the 1962. That is my dad's. I mean, that is my dad's car.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Sweet.
That color, everything about it, that windshield. Oh, that's my daddy's car.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, Richard Prince, we hope you're having an excellent day, and we will look forward to catching up with you again on another episode of The Thing About Cars. And to our friends, stand by. Don't go away. Catch up with us next week, and hopefully we can bring Richard to you and talk more about the actual book. I would tell you more about how to find the book now, except I kind of want Richard to be here when we do that. So keep your ears peeled to us for us to do that as I stumble over my tongue for the 20th time today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the Thing About Cars family. Is there anything else we need to go over before we adjourn?
Somebody buy us some Corvettes.
Yes. Anybody want to, say, hey, there's a Corvette sitting in my garage. It's in pretty good condition. They even have
or like parts. It was my husband's and it's been sitting in the garage for like 30 years and
it doesn't even matter what color it is. We'll happily drive it.
Well, the coolest thing about this Corvette.com site is it gives you every Corvette option, all the prices, all the colors. I mean, it is thorough.
Look at
the engine build.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you just keep scrolling down, and it's really amazing.
Okay.
So
Tuxedo
you can go
black.
out there and find parts.
Yes.
And then it has one for sale. There's a 1962 Corvette Roadster for $42,500.
So while Dawn is fangirling over this site, thanks again. We will see you guys with another episode in about a week. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Laters.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.